Whew, it's hot out here, y'all. But we gonna make it do what it do. Stay tuned. The Comfrey plant. It's a dope plant. It's great for fertilizer and you can use it many different ways in your garden. When it comes to the chop and drop method, I use this plant as mulch around most of my plants out here, the peppers, the tomatoes, high source of nitrogen. Chop and drop is probably the easiest way to go about it. You can also chop these leaves and put them in your liquid stench or super juice or whatever it is you're cooking up for your own self-sufficient type organic fertilizer. This is the #1 choice. But there's some things that you need to know about this plant. One, the hairs on this plant are fuzzy, right? They got these fuzzy hairs on them. And if you're not wearing gloves and you haven't handled this plant a lot, you're definitely going to get irritated the first few times. It's almost like a stinging nettle kind of hairs that just irritate the crap out of your finger. So be careful when it comes to that. I suggest that you wear gloves when handling this plant. The next thing I want you to know about this plant is there are many different types of comfrey. This particular comfrey here is a blocking 14 comfrey. Now, what does that mean? That means that this plant will grow and look like a comfrey. It's great for fertilizer. This seed will also set flowers and bloom, but this plant will not spread via seeds. There's some supporting articles that say it doesn't make seeds at all. Mine made seeds. At least I'm like 90% sure what I saw were seeds, and I know that I told a few people in the line that I would send them the seeds when it was done, but then I later found out that the seeds for blocking 14 comfrey, they're sterile. So it would have done me no good to send them to you. Now, how you can propagate it and make it spread would be digging up the root, slicing it up, replanting it, and it kind of takes off all over again, just like mint does. And just like mint does, if you don't get the blocking 14 variety, this plant can easily take over your garden, your space, wherever you planted it at within one single season. Now, if you want something that's going to spread, if you're trying to let an area fill in, then comfrey is probably a good option for you, and it doesn't matter if you have blocking 14 or not. But if your idea is to keep it where you want it, I would recommend you keep it in the container, because even though you put it in the ground, well, if that root gets disturbed, knocks off, breaks off, then wherever it breaks off, then you'll have another plant develop. But if you keep it in the container, you'll see new plants come up, kind of like aloe veras, and then you can split them from the mother plant and then give them away to someone else or put them in another container, and then so on and so forth. So blocking 14 is the way to go when getting comfrey. And there's one more thing I want to warn you about this plant. A lot of things that we grow in the garden are edible, right? That was the whole point in growing them. This is not one of them. See, this plant produces pyrrolizidine alkaloids. There's a lot of them, right? There's about 6 in particular that this plant produces. Now I want you to go and Google that word, right? Do your research on that word, but it's been found that pyrrolizidine alkaloids, PAs, they have been found to lead to not only liver issues, but in certain circumstances, cancer as well. Yeah, that's what I said. I said the big C word, cancer. So what does that mean for you as a gardener that may be concerned with these alkaloids that could lead to health issues? Well, back in 2008, the FDA, they reached out to all the vendors that had this particular herb in their aromatic herb teas, things that you would possibly eat and digest and consume. And the problem with that is once you ingest this plant and those PAs are metabolized, they then create these enzymes that are terrible for you. So your best bet is to never eat this plant. Don't eat it. And me personally, I'm not interested in the tinctures made from this plant, any salves made for this plant. Now I know there's plenty of research that shows that this plant has been used for 2,000 years for medicinal purposes. That's cool, I got it, fine. But me personally, if it's not good for me to eat, I really don't want to rub it on my skin either. And that's just me, but to each his own. So there's a little bit of tidbits on this topic. Just wanted to put this out there for you. It's not here to scare you, just educate you. Now, let's move on to harvesting some tomatoes. All right, now like I said, these are the tomatoes, and let's get a few. Now, what's crazy about these tomatoes is they were supposed to be these emerald green tomatoes, right? And my wife says she thinks I got it wrong because last season when we grew these, well, we didn't grow them. When our friend grew these, they were green. They never turned red. But this season, they're turning green for whatever reason. I'm okay with that. I'm not heartbroken about that, but yeah, it's a little disappointing. They are good. I've had a few already, so it's not like they just weren't good at all, but they weren't what I was looking for. No, not at all. She's not like what I was looking for. Now, I just dropped it. You saw, like, it took a landing hit, but I'm not worried about that. Now, this section, you might be thinking, like, is that any good? Can you eat it? Absolutely. She heals over on herself quite well. We're good to go. But these are some nice, respectable size tomatoes, and they eat well. They're just not as good as the ones that I thought I was growing, and you know, it happens. No big deal. All right, so this is another tomato plant. Had a spider in here. Making a whole bunch of webbery. Sorry, buddy, I'm about to break this up a little bit. Now this is another tomato that has confused the heck out of me. At the beginning of the season, I thought these were purple Cherokee. And then when they started to develop, I was like, oh no, these must be black beauties. Turns out, I don't think I even dropped any black beauties. This has to be a purple Cherokee. But another delicious tomato, as you can see. These lines, that's just from a lot of water being taken in a very short amount of time. That's what those stretch marks are. It does not harm you. Listen, people, this is just how food looks when it's grown by nature. That's what this is supposed to look at. So don't let this turn you off. This is still very good eating. I'm gonna go ahead and take this whole limb right here because we got another one here. That's nice and ripe. Again, she's cracked, right? Again, she's got a crack on her, but she's completely edible. Don't worry about it. You know, everything that glitter ain't gold, okay? Everything that glitter ain't gold. Y'all see that? You see that right there? That is another eggplant, not to mention a watermelon. So let's get her real quick. We got there's another one over here too. They be hiding, y'all. You see her? I mean, it's probably time to give her a nice little rotate anyway. I'll rotate her. So she's good. We got another one back here. She's good. And then we got this eggplant. I can't remember the name of it. I'll throw it on the screen. So if you didn't know that eggplants could be green, there you go. So let's go ahead and get her out of there. Let me tell y'all something. I absolutely hated eggplant. And then I grew it myself. Let me tell you, eggplant is good. Eggplant is good. And then lastly, oh man, I've loved everything about this plant right here, the Soldaki Tomato. Let's get up in here and get us a few tomatoes off of this one. If you were to ask me, what is the one tomato I just could not live without after this season, it's gonna be her. It's gonna be her. Look how beautiful she looks. Perfect, doesn't she? It's gonna be this tomato. This is the Sodaki tomato. This is great for a slicer. Yes, they get much bigger than this. This just happens to be one of the runts of the litters. They get much bigger than this. Great as a slicer. But what I really love about it, it has a nice sweet taste to it too, which leads me to believe this would probably be a really good stewing tomato as well. It has moisture in it. I know that's usually something that you don't look for when you're making a stew or a paste, but the sweetness that comes off of this, you know what? This would probably actually be the best ketchup you ever made. Now that I'm thinking about it, this would be a banger ketchup. So if you never heard of them, go look them up, go check them out. If you need seeds for these, out of the ones I'm harvesting today, which looks like 2, looks like we only got 2. I think my wife been out here sneaking them. I'm gonna save these seeds and I will list them on the Flipside Marketplace. This one's not quite ripe yet. We're gonna wait, and really, to be honest, she's not done either. She gets darker, she gets redder. So as you can see, this one's still got a little orange hint to it. You can eat them now, they're fine, but I'm telling you, baby, if you wait until these things are red, I'm talking red, you wait until she's red, this is the sweetest tomato I've ever had in my entire life, hands down, yes. Now, before we get out of here, I want to show y'all a couple more things. For one, look at this. Look at her. Now, if you don't know what this is, you probably grew up in the city, you know, but this is sugarcane. And recently I discovered that you see how she's getting nice and dark and purple and red. Ooh, almost cut myself. And she's thick all the way up through the pole. That's your sugar content that's steadily increasing on this plant. So we're gonna be getting some sugar cane. I'm tempted, I'm so tempted to take her. She's the biggest one. I'm tempted to take her, but I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait, and the reason why I'm gonna wait is my family's coming here, well, at least my father, he's coming up here for my birthday. It's actually our birthday. And I wanna save this harvest for him and I, because that used to be a treat he used to give me all the time as a kid. He used to slice up sugar cane and put it in my lunchbox as my gift. So I figured it'd be super dope if, like, when he came here, we harvested this cane and got to enjoy it together. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold off on harvesting her right now so me and the father can have a little nostalgic moment with some sugar cane I grew that came straight from New Orleans. Thank you, T-Nog, appreciate you. That pretty much wraps this episode up, guys. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Turf Therapy, where we're healing lawns and souls. And I'll see you next time for your weekly dose of therapy with Rob. Peace.